Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mornaris, and I'm bringing you another commentary. I went on my Facebook, and I asked the people on my Facebook, hey, guys, what do you think I should do if I were to do a commentary? And my English teacher from my school told me, hey, you should do a commentary on having pride in one's heritage. And the moment I saw that, I was like, you know what? That is actually a very good topic to talk about. And the reason why I think that is because a lot of times when you think of having pride in your heritage, that there's usually a lot of social stigma here in the United States, at least I think so, or I would imagine it's like that in all countries, that there's this kind of social stigma about having pride in one's heritage if that heritage does not have to do with the country that you're in. And so my heritage is Cuban, right? My entire family is Cuban. My parents came to this country in 1994. My mom tried to come in 1994, but she was turned back due to the dry foot, wet foot policy that was passed, and so she was sent to Guantanamo for 9 months, and then she got here. I was born here, so I'm legally an American. However, my heritage is Cuban. I'm a very, very proud Cuban. I have a lot of pride in being Cuban. And sometimes people get insulted when I openly show my pride for my heritage. I'm a patriot. I love this country. Like I said, I'm studying computer engineering. I'm gonna get a job here in this country. My skills, my knowledge, everything that I do is gonna be towards helping this country improve. I'm not gonna go to Cuba and become an engineer in Cuba just because I have a lot of pride in my heritage. I'm a patriot for this country, for the United States that I live in. And I think the problem with stigma is that people don't seem to understand the difference between patriotism and pride, and that people don't seem to understand what heritage means. So I went before I did this commentary, and I looked up the definitions of heritage, patriotism, and pride. So the definition for heritage is something that comes or belongs to one by reason of birth, an inherited lot or portion. So this means that the culture, the traditions that have been a part of your family are your heritage. These things get passed on to you. These are the things that are your birthrights. And some people choose to ignore that, and then other people choose to embrace it. And that's pretty much heritage. So then you have patriotism, which is a devoted love, support, and defense of one's country, which has nothing to do with pride, which is similar but not the same exact thing, whereas pride is the pleasure or satisfaction taken in something done by or belonging to oneself. So your heritage belongs to you. It's your birthright. You can be proud of your heritage. You can be proud of your patriotism, because patriotism is the devoted love and support and defense of one's country. So if I defend my country, if I love my country, if I support my country, I can be very proud that I do that. I can also be proud of being very strongly attached to my heritage, because I can be the grandest patriot in the world but have a very strong pride and love for my heritage, and that doesn't mean that I am any less of a patriot than the next guy. You know, I feel like people get so upset when, for example, I talk so great about, I basically boast about the Cuban culture, and I boast about the food and the drinks and everything that has to do with the traditions and culture of Cuba, and people are like, well, if you're so in love with Cuba, then why don't you move to Cuba? And it's like, you're confusing my pride and my heritage with my patriotism. My patriotism does not lie in Cuba. My patriotism lies in the United States. So I feel that people kind of misunderstand what's going on. And again, I didn't want to come into this commentary not really understanding what I was going to be talking about, so I looked up the definitions of the words, and I really thought about this. So the point is that we all have heritage, whether you want to admit it or not. Even if your family, you go back decades, your family has lived in this country, at some point you were not part of this country. Everyone that is considered pure American, pure Caucasian, did not natively live here. As a matter of fact, the Native Americans that lived here before Europeans ever got here are themselves immigrants. This is standard knowledge of history, and if you study history, you do realize that all of this land was uninhabited, and, you know, Native Americans came here over the land bridge that used to connect Alaska and northeastern Asia in Russia. So then you basically end up with, okay, the people that came here themselves are immigrants. Then the Europeans that came here are also immigrants. And then, of course, over 200 years, you end up with you, which you're no different than me, if that makes any sense. So I think the point here is that I think that everyone should have pride in their heritage. I know that there's people that are born and they very clearly understand the heritage that they have, but they choose to ignore it. They choose to throw away the love that they have for their past, their tradition, their culture. And I feel like this country is so diverse and so full of different people that it would be great if all of these people celebrated their heritage, because a lot of people do, but not everyone does. So if everyone did celebrate their heritage very strongly, I think that this country might be able to more appreciate the diversity in the world, because we are a very diverse country. This country was built on the backs of immigrants, and we owe it to ourselves to have pride in our heritage as well as patriotism. We have to have both things. We need to be patriots, but we need to be proud of where we came from, and we have to be extremely passionate about that, because the moment that we stop having pride in our heritage as well as we stop being patriots, we lose a sense of community. We're pretty much in it for ourselves. And we're not in it not just for ourselves, but for the people around us. And in order to have a successful and happy life, I feel that you have to be one with everyone around you, that you can't choose to ignore the existence of other people that make up the world that you live in. And so by showing pride in our heritage, as well as being patriots, as well as being open-minded, which is another very important thing. Just because you have a lot of pride in your heritage, and just because you're a patriot, does not mean that you need to be closed-minded. There are other things out there that you need to be open-minded about, and that you need to be extremely passionate about as well. Just as much as your own things, you need to be passionate about everyone else's things, because that way you become a very well-rounded person, a very understanding person, and you learn to put yourself in the shoes of other people, so that you can better make decisions of how to interact, because interacting can be a very complicated thing when you're interacting with people. Sometimes you can be a bit insensitive because you don't quite understand where they're coming from, their heritage. So just as much as you have to have pride in your heritage and you have to understand your heritage, you have to understand the heritage of other people, and you have to be proud of living in a place like this earth, where there are so many different cultures, so many different traditions, so many different histories. I mean, there's one history, but the different parts of this history that some do not apply to you, but they do apply to other people. So the moment that we become open-minded and we absorb ourselves, not only in our own things, but the things of others, then I feel that we become better people as a result of this. So anyways, I'm going to cut the commentary here, and I'm just going to go now, because I don't think there's a lot more for me to talk about this topic. So do check me out on Twitter. That's twitter.com/Mourneris. That is MOURNERIS. And you can reply there to the stuff that I say. You can send me stuff, mention me, and whatever, and I will get back to you as awesome and quickly as possible. And also make sure to comment, like the video, subscribe if you like what I'm saying, what I'm doing. Soon enough, I will be doing a channel update, because I am planning on doing a couple things in the near future, and as a result of that, I feel that I should talk about those things. So anyways, this has been Mourneris, bringing you the finest in gaming and philosophical talk, signing out. Signing